I went into the astral world, met my teacher prior to going into that world while I was in a hospital, like in the body of a ghost in that movie Ghost with Patrick Swayze and Demi Moore and Whoopi Goldberg. As we travel, I wanted to see the sun, and I traveled throughout all of the galaxies in the physical universe, billions and billions of stars and moons and asteroids, so many planets. Go into a tunnel and enter into the first stage, the elementary school, which we call the astral world. Everything is brilliantly lit up. Everything is lit up. It has its own light. Like in this world, you need a light bulb or some outside light in order to see. He says, seeing, you can see because your body is lit up. Everything is lit up. You don't need a light. Everything has a music. But the people in that world normally don't know that that music is God. That music has a beautiful sound. It attracts them. Music is coming from the trees, from the leaves, like in that movie, The Sound of Music, where Julie Roberts is walking around in that beautiful garden and that field. And she said, the hills are full of music. That is real there. So as I started experiencing that, he said, let's leave this place. But that place is beautiful. It's gorgeous. Everybody's intelligent there. There's no dumb people. There's no ugly people there. Everybody's beautiful. They can create their own form. Most of the people like to look at like they're 30 years of age in this world. And they don't need Botox. They don't need plastic surgery. They can control to some extent the form of their body by thinking. We do the same thing here. Let me think. Let me go get some cosmetics at the grocery store or at a pharmaceutical. Let me see a plastic surgeon and get some plastic surgery and make my body look younger than what it is. People are looking to be youthful. There you don't have to look, just think. But the average lifespan there is 3,000 to 4,000 years or more. And your lifespan creates your identity in that world. You remember when you 2,200 years of age or 2,300 years or 3,000 years of age, you remember the whole history of that realm of how long you've been there. The same thing happens when you're in the physical world. When you're in the physical world, you remember when you wake up, if I'm 30, 40, oh, I got so many children. I've been married so long. I went to school. I graduated with a C average. I used to play basketball or whatever. You remember all of this. And that memory, when you wake up from a dream every night, from a lower level of awareness and come to the wakeful state, without pinching yourself, without even opening up your eyes, the memory immediately comes back to you. And that's what's give you identity. My name is Sir J, Professor Brunson, whatever. It comes back. And nobody can change or shake that memory. Memory is so solid in this world, it cannot be shaken. No psychiatrist, no celebrity can shake the memory of who you are. But that's a false memory. It's not real. If I were to get into your dream world and say, wake up, you're sleeping, you would say, cut this out, man. You crazy? I just went to sleep. I have children in this world. I just got married 2 years ago in this world. If your memory is sharp, I went in on board to order me some food. I just got a raise 3 weeks ago. What are you talking about? You pull out your wallet, and there are real dollars there. You can see real dollars like they look in this world. You don't know they fake. You said, look, here, you can go buy you a cup of coffee. But if I say, wake up, you sleeping. You say, what are you talking about? I'm not sleeping. I'm fully awake. I would have to wake you up some kind of way. Then you wake up and say, wow, whoever that person was telling me the truth. When you wake up from this level, you go into the astral world, you discover you are awake. But the strange thing happens. You tend to think that's the highest level of consciousness. That's the biggest mistake people make when they have these out-of-body or astral experiences, projection. They may wake up to some extent and they think they in heaven. They are in a heaven. You can be in heaven in this world. If you get married, that's a happy day for you. You have some children that are born without deformity and look pretty. That's a happy day for you. But they can disappear. Happiness is hellish, is in this world, and hell is also in this world. You can get locked up, framed, go to jail, and put in solitary confinement. That become a hellish experience. There are different levels of hellish experience and different levels of heavenly experience in this world. The same thing exists in the astral plane. All of the heavens and hells are in the astral plane. So as we cross that world, that's a huge world, gargantuanly huge. It's exactly like this world, but it's more perfect. Everything, like I said, is lit up. People are more intelligent, more wise, more loving. There's no nonviolent activity taking place. Animals do not kill each other when they're in that world. You'll find animals there. You'll find birds, all kinds of species there. But all of them have a type of life of their own. You look at a tree and you see the leaves. The leaves got a certain kind of intelligence. They almost like life in that world too. Sometimes when you walk into the park, in this world, in the physical world, you look at trees and the wind is blowing, the rain is coming down. You say, oh, you feel good. That feeling is coming from the atmosphere of the trees. They have a soul. They have life just like you have life. But they're the only species. The plants are the only species that we're meant to eat because they are nonviolent species. They don't run away from us. Even though if you eat a plant, you will create a little bit of karma because everything is based on karma. But if you kill insects in higher forms and eat them, you create more karma. So I'm giving you more details. As we travel through that world, I wanted to see the president of that world, just like this world got a president. He said that's not a real president. That president got power, just like the president in the physical world got power in America. But he got administrators, angels, you want to call them, that help him facilitate his work and his agenda. And these angels are controlled by the karma, and the president controls the karma of everybody in the physical world and some of the karma in the astral world. We call those Akashic records. And as we cross that world and go into the next stage, which is the causal world, that's where all of the Akashic records are kept. Of everybody, all of the species, every life form that has ever existed and will exist in time and space is in the Akashic records. And you can see some of your future, too, in the Akashic records. Your future is not written in stone. It's an anticipation that's in the mind based on the Akashic records. That future can be changed by a PLM, a perfect living master. But you have to love him. That's the shortcut to making spiritual progress. Meditation is a long cut. Meditation is a difficult route. I discovered that. And as time went on, he said, there's a shortcut. I said, yes, I'm looking for a shortcut. What is the shortcut? He said, the shortcut is to get into the company of the master. The more you can spend time around the master, the more you have an opportunity to win his love. And he can take his love, which is God love, and put it in your consciousness. And he can pour so much in your consciousness that you don't care about anything else. You won't care about your mother. You won't care about your father. You won't care about your wife, your kids, or nothing. All you'll care about is your master. And you just want to be in his presence. You don't even care about the miracle powers he give you. You don't care about the heavens or the hells or the higher planes. You just want to be around him. And that's what we look for in this body too. If you're looking for a mate or you have children, you want to love them not because of your money or your power or your material wealth or your knowledge. You want them to love you for yourself. But I know, Sergey, it's hard to find that kind of love even from your children. Nevertheless, a wife. 50% of the marriages in America end up in divorce. And that percentage may be higher in other parts of the world because people are looking for that unconditional love. And the only beings, human beings, that can get close to that unconditional love is a baby. So as you become a baby and lose your free will, because a baby doesn't have too much free will. It can't walk, it can't talk, it has to be picked up, it has to be fed. The only thing the baby can do is cry. And if it cries loud enough, the mother normally wakes up. The father just turns over and nudges the mother and says, go take care of the child. Because the mother got more love because she carries the baby. She's been gifted with that love. If you go to the churches or to the mosque, you'll find most of these holy places are full of women. There are men there, but they want to be teachers. They don't want to listen. They think they know everything by reading books. You don't get knowledge from books. You get superficial knowledge. And you start developing dogmatism in your nature. And therefore, it can block you when you meet a spiritual living being in this world who's highly advanced. You can start having doubts, just like Judas. Even Peter, who was his chief disciple, had doubts. But he told Christ when the Roman soldiers came to kill him and crucify him, he whispered to Christ, after kissing him, I believe, if my historical information is correct, Christ, I'm willing to go to jail for you. I'm willing to die for you. And Christ whispered back, and he said, I'm modernizing the language now, cut out the BS, Peter. You will deny me 3 times before the cock crows. Even though he told Peter that, he later on in John, I think it's either Matthew's or John, one of the chapters, where he says, in one of the verses, I believe it's verse 19, Peter, it's to you that I give you the keys to the kingdom of heaven. You have to have a key. And the master can give you a key where you can open up all these doors that goes to the highest region possible, depending on how far he has gone or she has gone. So all these regions are opened up by a key. That's the thing I discovered. But as you become a baby, there's a shortcut. A baby doesn't have to do anything but love the mother. The mother will give the baby everything, all of its clothing, wealth, houses, everything, if she doesn't have anybody else to give it to. The Lord will do you the same way. He'll give you all of his wealth, all of his spiritual worlds, all of his physical regions. You can travel anywhere in the physical universe. People travel that way. They get out of the body and they go to different planets. They see different alien beings. They think that's high. That's the kindergarten experience. That's not even the elementary school experience. You have to cross this world in order to go into the elementary experience. You have to cross that world in order to go into the high school experience. You have to cross the causal world in order to go into the college experience. I'm using these words to make it a little simpler. And then you have to cross the college world. You have to graduate from that world and go into the postgraduate worlds and go back to your original place of origin. So I tried to give you some details. I don't know how long I've talked, but I tried to go into detail as much as I could, because once you cross the causal world, there's no language, because language is reproduced in the minds. And we use words, which is nothing but sounds, to communicate with other human beings in this world. Birds chirp, 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 they make sounds. Snakes may hiss, 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 they make sounds. Crickets, crick, 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 they make sounds. They make sounds to communicate with their species. And they're using words. We use words to communicate with other human beings, or sound. But God has his own sound. And when you hear his sound, it takes you out of the body and takes you higher up. God is a spiritual vibratory sound in every word, in every region. So the mind, like I said, is a trap, and it's in the causal plane. It's the mental plane. And we communicate in the mental world by direct perception. We just transfer knowledge to another person. I don't know how to explain it, but once you cross the mind, there's no language. Everything is love, joy, happiness. The soul doesn't have a language. If you can say it's a language, it's a language of love. And in the Bible again, in Matthew 6:22, Jesus says, if thy eye be singled, thy whole body shall be full of light. Light referring to knowledge. He's referring to the singularization of your attention. You have to singularize it on a human being in the physical world that's spiritually advanced. And in Matthew's again, 22 chapter, verse 37. Love the Lord thy God with all thy heart, mind, and soul. The Lord wants everything from you. Give him everything, and he'll give you everything. As a matter of fact, he'll make you one with himself. You'll be a co-creator along with himself. Because in fact, you are a miniaturized expression, a miniaturized version of God. You like a seed form. And there's a section somewhere in the Old Testament, Psalms, I believe, 82 chapter, verse 6. Ye are all gods of the Most High Being. It says, ye are all gods, which means we are a seed form of God. Just like in the California Sequoia Park, where these huge trees that exist and been there for thousands of years. Some of them are so large, some of them, they said, are larger than the Empire State Building in terms of height. And I think I saw a picture of one where they had carved a hole at the bottom where a truck or minivan went through it. And these trees have a soul just like you got a soul. They live a long time. But you're fortunate, and all the human beings that are listening to me today are fortunate to even know about this. Because most people get caught up in the religions. And there are so many religions in this world. If you just look at Christianity alone, it has subdivided into hundreds and hundreds of different subsets. 20 years after Christ passed away, there were dozens of subsets of Christianity. Christ did not come here to set up Christianity. His disciple called it Christianity. He came here to pick up sincere seekers of truth. And there's another section in the Bible where Christ says, I believe it's in, I'm trying to think of the verse. I think it's in John. If I'm not correct, I think it's John 15, chapter 6 verse, 16 verse. I have chosen you. You've not chosen me. You cannot find a perfect living master on your own. Your karma has to be of such a nature that, and your intensity of seeking has to be so concentrated that God will respond and put you in touch with somebody. God will choose you. He'll choose you as a human being. He will not choose you in the physical form. He will come as a human being and pretend he's a human being. He's not human. He's pretending. And there's a reason why he pretends. Because if God came in and sat up in the mid-air and started teaching, you would worship him, but you would fear him. You see that power, you would fear it. So he acts like a human being. He gets sick. He pretends he's suffering on the cross if you crucify him. He will go to the extent of letting you kill him. He'll allow your free will to flow even to that extent where you can kill him. So you have to love him. And if you love somebody, you don't care if they're God or not. You just love them. And if you see them suffering, and if they act well enough, you yourself will cry. And that night, you can never get them out of your mind. You'll be thinking of them all the time. And that's the best meditation you can do, is to think of them, where you can't get them out of your mind. You'll be tossing and turning all night, like that love song that they played in the 60s. I can't sleep at all. I'm tossing and turning all night. You're thinking of your teacher. You're full of love. Tears are flowing. That's what he wants. He wants real tears. He doesn't want crocodile tears. He don't want the fake tears that you imagine you have from dead figure that existed 2 or 3 or 4,000 years ago. Whether it's Christ, Krishna, Buddha, they don't want those kind of tears. They want living tears. The same type of tears you will have for your mother when you see her in a casket, or a child that's died before you died. He wants real tears. And when he get those kind of tears, he will melt like butter. He will come as fluffy as a fluffy pillowcase and give you everything and hug you and take you back. So, Sergio, I hope I'm pronouncing your name right.
Sergey. That's okay.
Sergey. Sergey, that's the gist of the
Yeah.
teachings in the
Okay.
spiritual experience.
All right. Now, you were lucky enough to have this guru come into your life. But a lot of people not lucky like that. They cannot meet a living guru. Can a teaching or a book or a podcast, let's say, act as a guru for a person?
Yes, they can start. Well, let's take a baby. The first teacher of a baby is the mother, right?
Yeah.
The mother teaches the baby how to use the potty, how to put on his clothing, how to dress for school. And the next teacher become either the preacher in the church or the teacher in school. The teacher's teaching the baby ABCs, multiplication, addition. So we are constructed in such a way that we have to follow a teacher. The Sikh, Sikh religion, is a religion that started in the 1500s with Guru Nanak. He was a perfect living master, and he had several successors after himself. But the last successor, there were 10 gurus in a row, but the last successor, there was a rumor floating around. I believe his name was Teg Bahadurji. And they said, we don't know if this is true, but they said that the teacher will be the book from now on. So if you meet any Sikh living today, they say we follow the book. So there's nothing wrong with following the book. But if you read their holy book, you will discover in their holy book, every line says you have to find a teacher. Every line, almost every paragraph says seek a living teacher. But because that last guru had implied that the book should be your teacher, there's nothing wrong with a book. But the reading of the book requires the interpretation, right? And how do you know how to interpret if you don't have experiences? You can interpret only from your worldly experiences. Like if the guru says you have to die while living, we don't know what that means. Let me commit suicide. People out there listening, they say, let me commit suicide. Maybe I can go somewhere. They will go somewhere. But they make the mistaken notion that they can kill consciousness. Consciousness can never be extinguished. It can only be transformed into another state. It keeps revolving, birth and death, birth and death. You cannot get rid of consciousness. The Lord has a problem. He cannot get rid of himself. You think the Lord can commit suicide? No. So we need a teacher if we wish to make great spiritual progress.
All right. Let's go back to a question in our previous podcast. You said that you were a vegetarian or a vegan for about 40 years or something, I don't remember, for a long, long time. And here you get cancer. And a lot of people ask, how the vegetarian can get a cancer if it's such a healthy lifestyle?
Okay. You saying a lot of people may be writing and asking questions like, how can you develop cancer if you live a vegetarian lifestyle? Now, I don't know if you're aware of this. I don't know if your audience is aware of this, but if they check with any doctor that's highly intelligent and highly researched this area, every human being is born with cancer cells. They may not develop, or they can develop. If you check with St. Jude Hospital, which is a children's hospital where children can go there free, they feed them free, and they try to help solve different health remedies, health problems that they have. And you'll find children with cancer. Not only cancer, they have deformities in their limbs, and some children die at the age of 8, 9, 10 from cancer. It was in the body anyway. It's in every human being's body, but it may not develop, depends upon the karma that we have. Your immune system can be strong enough that you can have cancer and you can get some type of medical treatment and it can go into remission. But it can come back again. It can travel in different parts of the body. It can go to the heart, it can go to the lungs, it can go to the brain. So cancer is caused by a previous life experience we've had. We've done something wrong, either hurt somebody or ate improperly, and now we have to pay. You reap what you sow. So a person can go and check in the hospital for colonoscopy or check for a cancer surgeon and get some kind of radiology and see if they got it. But eating plants in this life may not have enough strength in it to improve your immune system strong enough where you can overcome cancer. But plants have the lowest form of life. And so when you eat a plant, you're extinguishing life at the lowest form because the plant got a soul, and therefore you don't pick up too much karma. And put it in mathematical proportion. I'm just creating a theory now. A plant may have 10 pounds of karma. An insect may have 50 or 100 pounds of karma. A bird may have 100,000 pounds of karma. A cow or a pig may have millions of pounds of karma, and a human beings, hundreds of millions of pounds of karma. People at some point used to eat human beings for various reasons. But if you eat any of these 5 levels of species that I'm talking about, plants, insects, birds, reptiles, mammals, human beings, you pick up karma. And karma is meant to keep you in this world. But you can overcome it because even though you're trapped, the Lord has set up a system for you to get out. When you were originally with the Lord, all of us were with the Lord originally. We were like children in his high kingdom. And he asked all of us, I'm setting up a beautiful world. You can call it a Disney world, where there's so many play regions, so many playthings, so much enjoyment, so much pleasure. Would you like to go? The majority of the souls said no. But we were of the trillions and trillions of souls who said yes. And we made it, some of us in that trillion said, Father, if we ever get tired of this creation, would you come and get us? He laughed. I'm putting humor into this because he's full of humor. He laughed. And he said, I myself will come. I won't rely on anybody else. I myself will come, leave my kingdom, pick up my children, put them in my bosom, and take them back to the Creator, to my real home. And so they laughed and went there. And we are the ones that have to seek. And we have the free will that he has. But it's illusionary. The free will plays a major role in seeking. We cannot seek without free will. If we got knowledge, we feel we know everything. And books can give us a feeling that we know something. Books can deceive us. It can trick us because we don't have any way to interpret what we read other than the worldly, physical experience that we have.
So, a question here, Professor Brinson. The cancer or a heart attack, for example, is it caused by lifestyle or is it caused by karma?
Well, you know, when I had what the doctors call a heart attack that I had in the hospital, that's what they caused it. They don't really know. Because when the heart stops, you're not breathing anymore, and you classified as dead, they'll say it's a heart attack, right? They can't see my ghost body that I'm watching them as they're trying to resuscitate me. They don't know that I'm more conscious than I was when I was in the physical body. They don't see my teacher. He's also in his spiritual body. And as we travel. So when they diagnose, they don't know. And when they resuscitate a person, they think they're doing the resuscitation. They don't know that the Supreme Being is telling people, if you have read about people who've had clinical death experience, many of them have said they don't want to come back. But the beings that are in that region, whether the astral or higher region, told them it's not their time to die. They have to come back. Karma plays a major role in everything that we do. including the money that we make, children that we're going to have, how long we're going to live, where we're going to go to school. Even the hair on your head are numbered by karma. Everything is karma in this physical world and in the astral and the causal. So all your action, including sicknesses, diseases, physical problems that you may have with digestion, are based on karma from a previous existence. So I hope I've given you the answer to that question. But I did not suffer from what they call a heart attack. My teacher created that illusion, so I left the body.
Okay. Another question we had on our previous podcast, you mentioned that you had the COVID shot.
You talking about the COVID shot?
Yeah. You had the COVID shot.
I got that.
Yeah. And a lot of people were kind of suspicious. They said, okay, we don't believe him because he had the COVID shot, so he doesn't know what he's talking about, something like that. There were some comments
tell
like
your
this.
audience, you can tell your audience they're free to believe because skepticism is a major spiritual path. You go deep into skepticism, and at the end, you'll discover that the consciousness is the only thing that exists, like Descartes says. I am, therefore I exist. So skepticism will lead you to the end, and then faith will start developing. Then a little experience will take place. When the experience takes place, it becomes living faith, not dead faith, not blind faith. So I encourage them to go deep into disbelief, but they should do research because when you're in this world, your teacher will tell you to go seek medical attention. He said, don't rely on me performing a miracle. Don't use your spiritual powers to heal yourself or other people. Go see a doctor. The Lord has created different medicine. If you get a cold, catch a cold, go get some cold medicine at the pharmacy. If you need bandages and cut yourself, go get a bandage at the pharmacy. If you suffer from the flu, go see a doctor, get a vaccination shot. The whole educational system in America or in most countries is based on vaccination. If people are suffering from smallpox, in the old days, they didn't know how to treat them. But now they got treatment. So they've practically eliminated some smallpox today. Malaria, they got treatment. So would you refuse a treatment based on, I don't believe it? You can believe it and go ahead and, most of the people today don't suffer from, who got vaccination, don't have COVID. You can check on that. But they still will encourage you to get a COVID shot maybe once a year now. And people who didn't get the COVID shot, when it was rampant, many of them died, millions of them in America.
Okay, how about the immune system? We have an immune system that can protect us against viruses, for example. Yeah.
If you don't know the strength of your immune system, they don't have a way to mathematically analyze the strength of the immune system. So you're taking a chance. People can smoke, live to be 105, and say, hey, I know somebody, my uncle, he smoked all his life, and he didn't die from cancer. You can eat meat and enjoy it and live to be 86 or 90. And say, well, he didn't develop any problems in his body. I wish I could live that long. So why should I stop eating meat? You don't know the strength of your immune system. And as you make these decisions, your immune system can be strong or weak. But you will pay for all your wrongdoings, if not in this life, in some future life. There's no way to get around reaping what you sow. That is a law in the universe that governs the causal plane, the astral plane, and the physical world. That law is more rigid and more stringent and more exactious than the law of gravity.
Okay, Professor Brinson, you mentioned Akashic records. Can you describe in more details the Akashic records?
Yes. Akashic records. Let me talk about the three types of karma.
Okay.
There's a storage karma. You call that sentient, S-I-N-C-H-I-T, sentient. That's like a huge bank account of karma. Every lifetime we create additional sentient. Sentient, when you're born with destiny, comma, faith, comma, destiny, comma. Out of the sentient, comma, a certain amount of destiny, comma, is given to the human being. The human being is a combination of good and bad, comma. You cannot be a human being unless you got good and bad experiences in your destiny. And when you make a decision, that's when you create new karma. You have to use the mind, which holds all of the karma in the total, uniform, universal Akashic records. The mind holds all of this karma. And whenever you make a decision, oh, should I do this or should I do that? If you're a military man and you're in war and your general tells you to do something and you follow the orders without thinking, you don't create karma. You're just following orders. But if you decide to think, oh man, these people have done this, let me go out and kill millions of them, you're creating more karma because you're using your thinking apparatus. Okay? So when you think and use that, you're creating future karma for yourself. And that future karma goes into the sentient, and that creates the new destiny. And that destiny karma comes from the sentient or the stored up karma. And the stored up karma got huge, I don't know if you can even calculate, incalculable amount of karma stored in that sentient bank account of every human being. So you need a master to help you get out of that. He'll tell you various things, meditate, try to catch the attention of the sound. The sound can burn up some of that karma like a fire burning up hay. Or you can fall in love with him and he will take you out of this realm of karma. I hope I've answered that question.
Okay, I have a comment here. If someone kills someone else mindlessly, it happens sometimes. It's something triggered, and just then he doesn't acquire any bad karma.
Let me tell you how that works. Say if you're riding in your automobile and suddenly a person runs in front of your car and you try to stop and you hit him and it's an accident. And the cameras are seeing your response in the car, seeing how you tried to stop. Will the judge sentence you to do time in jail? Most cases, they forgive you because you didn't have any intent. Mansaria, you had no intention of killing. You have intention when you think and you plan to do something. That's when you can pay the price. The Lord has the same system. If you have no intentions and you mindlessly do something, you don't create karma. It was in that person's destiny to be hit and killed that way because of their karma, not yours. You played a role, but you don't create any karma. You just were an instrument in the process of killing that person, an instrument only.
Okay, that's interesting. So someone loses his life because someone else was mindless at that point, he didn't intend to kill him. It just happened. Somebody loses his life. So
yes,
you mean this person who killed the other one is not guilty, at your point of view?
Okay, let me put it this way, because you're asking a very dualistic question. If that person accidentally kills someone, okay, but it's in his karma to go to jail, he will feel he's been framed. And you got a lot of people in jail who feel they've been framed because they feel they've done nothing. Some people have done nothing, for real, and they end up in jail because of previous karma. So his karma can be such that he has to pay a price for something that he had no intentions of doing. That's why I say it's dualistic. It's hard to analyze karma. If you really want to understand it, go inside this body. You just go a little bit inside the middle portion of the astral plane, and you can review everything. Everything is on a DVD, a spiritual DVD, and you can view it for yourself. You can not only view your DVD in the past with the concentration of attention, depending on how much you can concentrate your attention, you can go so far into the future. So time is like a vehicle in which we can travel upon. And in the causal plane, you can travel backwards and forward in time and view everybody's destiny and karma, if you wish. So the Lord has created a beautiful system where you cannot doubt anything when you get up there. You look at the movie, you say, wow, he's created a beautiful movie. Nothing is real. It's just a film. And I'm enjoying the film now. I can even enjoy a baby being burned alive because I understand why the baby got burned and who did the burning, who did the bombing. But the baby's not dead. The baby may be in heaven now. The baby may come back and start seeking. That fire was necessary to increase the seeking and having the child look for his creator.
Okay, you mentioned astral plane several times. Can you go into a little bit detail and explain to my viewers what an astral plane is?
I know a lot of your viewers have written me all hundreds of letters that I receive. And I'm going to try to answer this question, but if I cannot give the right answer, they can go on my website and look up my phone number, iseek.org. My memory doesn't fail me. I believe the number is 833-351-6222. That's the cell number. They can call me. My staff will answer it. If the staff doesn't answer the voluminous amount of call, they can leave a message, leave their name and phone number. And I promise all of them, I will try to call them as fast as my schedule permits it. Because I'm going to get a lot of emails like I got before. And I know I can't answer all of these questions. So I repeat that site again, i-seek.org, iseek.org, 833-351-6222. And I'll try to explain a little bit more about the astral plane. But I wish they would be more specific because the astral plane is a huge world made exactly like this world, more gigantic. You take this physical universe with its trillions of stars and galaxies, trillions of galaxies we have. Way out on the fringes of space would be the size of a quarter placed in the Pacific Ocean. The quarter would be the physical universe. The Pacific Ocean would be the astral plane. That's how large it is. So what portion of the astral plane they want me to explain? I gave a general idea, but those who have specific questions can write me or better yet, call me and I can give detailed answers. If you have a specific question, I can try to give an answer now. But to say, talk more about it, I've given them a broad summary of that world and how it looks like this world.
Okay, thanks for that. We can see actually the name of your website on your head. I_seek.org. That was correct?
Yes, I-seek.org, or they can call 833-351-6222.
All right. I asked you last
It's
time.
easy for me to, it's easier for me to just get on the phone rather than give my secretary some notes and they have to type it. That takes more time and I have to proofread it. It's easy for me to talk to them directly.
Yeah.
Even though I may get hundreds of requests, I will promise them I will call them back. Okay?
Okay. Thank you for that. Now, I asked you last time, I'm going to ask you again. Professor Brinson, are you afraid of death?
Let me reverse the question. Sergey, are you afraid of waking up from a dream at night?
No.
That's how I feel about death. Death is nothing but the waking up from this physical body, which is a dream state. We're dreaming now in the astral plane and therefore creating this world and this body. But I know fear is there in every human being. They really don't want to die. What they don't want to do is experience the pain of death. They don't want to experience pain. They want to be able to wake up without pain. And that's where meditation comes in. And that's where a spiritual teacher comes in. Okay?
Yep. Now, what's your definition of freedom?
Freedom, I admire you for coming up with the Freedom Show. I don't know how you came up with this interesting and tantalizing name for your show. The soul is looking for freedom. We are not used to being trapped and enclosed in houses, whether it's a physical house, an astral house, or a causal house. These are garments that we wear, clothing. We like to be free. And every entity wants to be free. You take a bird and put him in a cage. The bird doesn't want to be in a cage. My teacher told me a story once. He said there was a man. I don't know if this is a true story or a metaphor, but he said there was a man, he used to go to East Africa every year on a trip. And he went there once and he saw some parakeets on a branch. And they were talking. And he was impressed. He said, who taught these parakeets how to talk in English? So he captured one of them, put him in a cage, and brought him back to America. Okay? He fed them, gave them water, plenty of food, but he never let them out of the cage. So one of the parakeets, one day, pretended he had died in the cage. Okay? And so the man took the parakeet out and took him in the yard and was going to bury him. The parakeet flew off the ground on top of a branch. And he said, you're not dead after all. He said, no. But one of my friends told me in Africa, if you want to get out of this cage, pretend you're dead while alive. And you'll be free. So that's what we have to do. Wake up. Pretend we're dead and we wake up. You have to simulate death. That's what meditation is. The simulation of dying while alive. Christ speaks of this in the Bible. In Luke 9, chapter 27 verse. He says to a few of his loving disciples, there are some standing before me today who shall not experience death. He was referring to biological death until they see the kingdom of God, which means the kingdom of God is seeable while alive. That's the beautiful statement in the Bible.